I don't understand why platform holders make it so difficult for the little guys who just simply want to get their video game out on their system, but that's unfortunately what Sony's done. Hi guys, it's Stu here, bringing you another True Talk episode. As my channel is centered around indie games for consoles, or especially the Xbox One, I find this very, very concerning. And it could be a good thing for Xbox, but that's not about that, because I'll be saying the same thing if Xbox pulled this as well. But I came across this article on gamesindustry.biz. Now, I didn't know Sony had done this, but apparently back in August, Sony issued the ESRB, which is the rating boards for North America, with a mandate that small indie games getting a physical release now have to be rated by the ESRB. As I've probably covered in previous videos very briefly, our rating boards, PEGI in Europe, charge a flat fee for any kind of release, whether it be digital, physical, whatever. They have varying different degrees of fees that they charge depending on stupid criteria. But ESRB had a fantastic scheme where if you solely release your game digitally, then you don't have to pay a fee for ratings. You can get it released for get it rated for free, which is fantastic, and they still do that. So well done, ESRB. But some small indie developers have now been doing a collector's edition physical releases or small physical runs where you actually get a box and a code in a box. And some of them have even gone to the full lengths of actually producing a disc. Now, Sony have put this mandate in place where now the ESRB have to charge these small indie developers a fee to release their game, which is obviously increasing an indie developer's budget by a significant value. I mean, budgets are always important for video games for any project that you undertake, but with these small indie guys who maybe even a small one-man team, two-man team, 10-man team, whatever, you know, small, very knit groups of people who budget is vital for, because an unexpected increase in budget could mean the difference of putting food on the table for their families. This is a real kick in the balls, to be honest with you. It's just, I find it quite disgusting, to be honest with you. I just don't see why they're so anti-indie or anti-very small indie at that. The bigger indies would probably have no problems with this, but a lot of the guys, this is just crap, absolute appalling. But anyway, we'll get back to the article here. As it says, while ratings for digital titles are free, that's with the ESRB anyway, Sony's decision in August that physical versions of these titles must now be rated has led to the cost of goods becoming prohibitively expensive. Small studios looking to get into retail are subjected to the same long-form process now as big publishers. If a title, now this is a strange thing, if a title costs less than $1 million to develop, you know, a lot of small indie teams would wish they had $1 million to develop a game. $1 million, to develop a game. But anyway, if a title costs less than $1 million to develop and was rated for digital release at least 90 days prior to submission, the ESRB said the publishers can pay $3,000 for a retail rating. So that's the ESRB kind of having to implement this mandate, because they are beholden to what Sony and the platform holders dictate to them. So the ESRB, they have kind of tried to help the situation by anybody who's just released their game and in the process of doing a physical release for this period of 90 days, they can get this reduced rate of £3,000. But however, anybody who decides it in future, there's a fee that's not even mentioned in the article, but presumably it's going to be a lot higher. So, an ESRB spokesman commented, a growing number of publishers have released physical versions of products that have previously been available solely through digital means, which includes physical packaging that contains download codes or product-specific POSA card. I think that's point of sale, activation card, possibly. These games must be submitted using the long form process, so they've got to submit them through the long form process now. However, to accommodate the publishers of digital games with a small development budget who didn't initially anticipate releasing their game in physical form and retail at retail, ESRB recently introduced an even more heavily discounted rating fee. So ESRB are having to employ the mandate, but doing what they can, really. But it's not really helping the situation, because Sony have caused this big problem now for the small guys. Aruna, a cyberpunk shooter developed by Recon Games, was cited as a prime example of what happens when indies have to pay retail ratings fees. Special Reserve Games had originally planned to put out a physical release for Recon Games, but in October wrote, "The process of obtaining this rating comes with a fee that puts the production costs for new releases like Ruiner out of the acceptable range for us to produce physical discs for the PS4. This decision was agonising and we have tried multiple ways to reach a compromise, but sadly we have had to change our plans to produce our intended collector's edition PS4 disc for Ruiner." And Ruiner is a fantastic game, guys. It's a fantastic cyberpunk-styled shooter. I really should do reviewing it, even though the game's been out for a while there, because it does deserve your money. It deserves your money right now. And Special Reserve CEO Jeff Smith further commented to Kotaku, What I can say is that for a game like Ruiner, the mandate to acquire the rating for our very small batch run was going to increase our cost of goods sold by 35%. So that's quite a big, uplift in what it's going to cost you to do something when you've planned to do it. This is significant, especially when this mandate was imposed while we were already in production. So they've probably suffered a loss for that, and they've had to put a halt to it. You know what I mean? So it's even kicked them in the balls even harder than most developers in the future wanting to go down this route, because they would have already incurred costs. They probably had contracts with certain companies to produce these discs and stuff, and they probably had to pull out and maybe pay penalty fees. Hopefully they haven't, but that's the way the world works if you cancel contracts and things. That helps indies with physical releases, and recently did so with House Marquee's Nex Machina, as well as Cliff Bazinki's Lawbreakers. Co-founder Josh Fairhurst remarked, "A lot of the developers we work with have created really obscure and small titles, many which may have sold pretty poorly digitally. The money we're paying the ESRB now could have kept our partners fed for several months while they created their next game." And that's the point I'm making. A budget increase of a few $1,000s is massive for these guys. It's really unacceptable that Sony have done this, to be honest with you. I don't understand why. I don't understand why it needs to be done. I just don't get it. I don't understand the theory about it. I mean, Sony have obviously yet to comment on the situation, and they probably won't do, because they don't have to, do they? They just sit there in their ivory tower and put these mandates out, which they don't think what it's impacting. And this will discourage a lot of indie developers to release games on the Sony platform now. Having these stupid fees that are totally unnecessary just really stifle creativity. They stifle future talent. People could leave the industry because of this. These indie developers now are the future AAA developers. Where do you think all these AAA developers came from? Did you think they instantly started making, AAA titles, world-beating titles? No, they didn't. They all cut their teeth on little games. I've been gaming since the early 80s, and games used to be developed. We used to call them bedroom developers. These bedroom developers then moved on to work for the AAA companies of the time, like Ocean or Imagine, US Gold, companies like that. You start off small. You learn your trade. It's your apprenticeship, and then you move on to bigger and better things. And sometimes you have a breakout success. PUBG, for example, Minecraft. You never know when the next big hit is gonna strike. And these guys are the lifeblood of the industry, and Sony and anybody who charges these prohibited fees that stifle their creativity hampers them in getting a game out to the gamers. It's not on. It's not acceptable. I don't know why you do it. It's just anti-indie. It's anti-creativity. It's anti-industry. I just don't understand it. Anyway, guys, that's the video for today. I will catch you on the next one. Please remember to comment and subscribe, and hit that notification button, which is the little bell button down by the subscribe button. That will tell you each and every time I upload a video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.